I buried my mother. Then she called to ask why. I stood at my mother's grave on a cold October morning, watching as they lowered her casket into the ground. The funeral had been beautiful. Dozens of people came to pay their respects. I gave the eulogy, tears streaming down my face as I talked about the woman who raised me alone after Dad left. The woman who worked 2 jobs to put me through college. The woman who called me every Sunday without fail. 3 days later, my phone rang at 2 in the morning. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. The voice on the other end made my blood run cold. Sweetie, why haven't you called? I've been trying to reach you for days. It was my mother's voice.
Clear as day.
I nearly dropped the phone. This had to be some sick joke. Someone had recorded her voice somehow. But then she said something only she would know. She mentioned the childhood nickname she'd given me that I'd never told anyone. She asked about my dog's vet appointment scheduled for next week, something we'd discussed in private. My hands were shaking. I told her she couldn't be calling me. I told her I'd just buried her. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Buried me? What are you talking about? I'm at home. I'm standing in my kitchen right now. I got in my car and drove to her house, breaking every speed limit. Part of me expected to find an empty house. Instead, my mother opened the door in her bathrobe, looking confused and very much alive. We sat at her kitchen table until dawn as I showed her pictures from the funeral, the death certificate, the obituary. She stared at them in disbelief. Then she told me something that made even less sense. She said she'd been trying to reach me for 3 days because a woman claiming to be me had called her saying I was sick and couldn't talk. That same woman had apparently been texting her from my number. That's when we realized the truth. Someone had been impersonating both of us to each other. The hospital had called me to identify a body they insisted was my mother. The ID matched. The fingerprints matched. I'd been so devastated that I hadn't questioned it. I just arranged the funeral and went through the motions in a grief-stricken haze. The police are still investigating. They found the woman who died, a Jane Doe who somehow had my mother's identification. But how?
And why?
Someone went to elaborate lengths to make me believe my mother was dead. Someone who knew intimate details about both our lives. My mother's alive, and I'm grateful beyond words. But now we're both looking over our shoulders, wondering who wanted us to believe she was gone. And more terrifyingly, wondering what they plan to do next. Subscribe for more stories.